What is up, everybody? This is Lyle, No Hippie Trucking and Transportation. I'm coming at you from the Loves in Holland, Michigan, I-196 exit 52. I'm about 20 miles away from my delivery tomorrow at 11 a.m. But what I wanted to talk to you guys about was a decision I made to not get a 70 in the middle of the load, and kind of tell you what my rationale was behind it and what you might have done in this situation. You know, there's a whole bunch of different ways to skin a cat, but one thing I will say is, as long as you've put thought into whatever decisions you make, most of the time you're going to be all right, because there's not just one way to do this. Now, as of right now, I have 3 hours and 51 minutes left on my 70-hour clock. Tonight, I'm going to pick up 2 hours and 38 minutes. So let's just say, round it off, 4 hours, 5, 6. So I'll have 6 hours and some change on my 70 tomorrow morning. Now, where I stopped at last night was in Roscoe, Illinois. If you're ever in that area, I know it's going to be tempting for you because you guys love these big-ass truck stops, or these chain truck stops. But in Roscoe, Illinois, you got a Love's, and then a Speedway, and then you have a Thornton's. Hit up the Thornton's. You know, this morning I left the Thornton's. There's about 6 open spots there. Drove across the street to the Love's to do a vehicle inspection and fueling, just to knock that out at one time. You know, 2 birds with 1 stone kind of thing. And I drove over there, and there's people parked all over the place, all on curbs and everywhere. Listen, quit going to these big places all the time. There's a whole bunch of better options, but need I digress. So anyway, my thoughts behind this was that, okay, I can get my 70. It's going to take, let's say, going through Chicago, all that. Let's just round it off and say it's going to take me 5.5 hours to get to my delivery tomorrow, tomorrow at 11 o'clock. So I would have had my full 70, but I would have ran basically half my time off my clock. So I'd have about 5 hours left on my clock by the time I got done delivering. But I would have had a full 70. All this is going through my mind, and then I say, you know what? I really don't like driving that far in on a load. That's number one. Number two, I said, okay, well, if I drive today, I'm going to have 3 hours and 51, I basically said 4 hours left on my clock. I'm going to pick up 2 hours tonight. So I should have about the same amount of time on my clock when I get done delivering tomorrow as I would have had if I'd have got the 70. Then really what really made me go ahead and just run the load was I started looking at my recaps. So after tomorrow, I'd pick up 10 hours and 23 minutes. Then 10 hours and 29 minutes, then 7:56, 9:51, 10:53. So I'm getting all these big recaps and things like that. I almost wish those recaps were a little bit shorter, so I'd almost be forced into this little upper Midwest loop that I was on maybe about a month ago. That was enjoyable, running between Michigan and Minnesota, down to Illinois, up to Wisconsin. I loved that little run right there. But it would have been good getting the 70. Again, the downside to getting the 70, driving 280 miles to the 90. The downside to not taking the 70 is obviously I'm going to be running on recaps. But I think the main thing that put it over was me not having to worry about getting to the 90 on time. I'm 20 miles away. I can get some good relaxation. You're like, but Lyle, you can get some good relaxation, if you would have taken the 34. Not really, because I'd be thinking about that 280 miles the whole time. Right now, I probably have 22 hours before I even pull out of here tomorrow. So I don't even have anything to think about, stress about, none of that kind of stuff. And then when I'm done picking up the load or delivering the load tomorrow, I'll have enough hours to run and get something pretty short. That's not huge distance away from my delivery, pick it up, and then kind of go from there. So those are my thoughts. A bunch of different ways to skin a cat. My way is not always the right way, but as long as there's some thought put into what you do, chances are you're going to be okay. Tell me what you would have done in this situation. Now, I tell you one mistake I did make yesterday was I took a 30-minute break at a Love's, and I was too lazy to get a shower then. Had I got a shower, and I could still actually do this, I'll talk about that in a second. Had I got a shower last night, there's a truck stop, I forget the name of it, down about 3 miles back the direction I came, that nice little off-brand truck stop that I probably would have stopped at. If I really feel motivated to do that, I can PC to that place, since it is not in the direction of my load, and I'm not using it for any business purpose. So that is that. So anyway, that's about it. What is the date today? I'm losing track of the date. I know in one of my last videos I said it was January, and that's pretty much how long I've been out here. June 7th, I'm scheduled to be home sometime around June the 20th, give or take a few days, and that is going to be well overdue, because I am not built for this. All you guys that are able to stay out here for months on end, I mean, I came out of here late February, so I've been out all January, February, March, April, May, and it will be almost all of June. We're almost talking about a half a year. Certainly not what I wanted. I could have gone home a little bit earlier than this, but my daughter's having a baby, and I didn't want to go back and then come back out for 2 weeks, then go back home. So I decided to stretch it out a little bit. But you know, sometimes when things happen, you got to do whatever it takes. And since the beginning of the year, just about everything outside, couldn't be happier with the loads and things like that, but everything that could go wrong has gone wrong in terms of little knick-knack issues with trucks that have been causing downtime and things like that, and it's kind of made me focus my energies on keeping the ship stabilized. And you know what I do when I do this? I don't bitch about it, I don't complain about it, I don't whine about it. That kind of shit is counterproductive. Makes a motherfucker feel sorry for themselves. Come out here, deal with it, and go from there. So I'm assuming that we're going to be good, hopefully, for the foreseeable future. Anyway, I do appreciate you guys stopping by. No Hippie Trucking and Transportation. As always, comment, subscribe, and I'm out.